Hi everyone, I am Gamo from Resolute Education, and for today's chat, I will be your host. You know, every so often, we meet someone who doesn't just navigate the world, they challenge it. Today's guest is a law graduate, a world-class adventurer, and a man who redefined the limits of human endurance. In 2011, he embarked on a world-first expedition, spending five grueling months battling the freezing swells and sub-zero winds of the North Atlantic to kayak over 2,000 kilometers around the coast of Iceland. But for him, the greatest trek isn't just the miles on the water, it's the work that he does every single day to shift the global conversation on disability and potential. He's a pioneer and a can-do spirit and a true titan of adventure. Today, I am joined by none other than the man himself, Dan Skinstad. Dan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, my pleasure, my man.
Fantastic.
I don't know if I can do any better than that introduction, eh? So thank you very much.
As long as I can do you some honor. Thank you so much for your time. So, for the folks at home who might not know you or a little bit of your story, if you could just give us a brief overview of just who you are.
Okay, so I'm a 45-year-old white male, and I was born with CP, premature birth. I've explained before that my parents left Zim and were under a hail of bullets during the War of Independence, and as a result of the stress, my mum went into labor early, and as a result I was born early and contracted, or I don't know if the word is contracted, but picked up cerebral palsy, and so I've dealt with it from day one.
And growing up with cerebral palsy, what did that look like for you going to school and learning alongside other kids who didn't have that?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because before I went to a mainstream school, I was actually at an LSEN school, and they used to call them schools for special needs when I was younger. And I don't know if other people feel it, but for me, the term special needs was almost like a sort of condescending term.
Okay.
So I like the fact that there's the new or newish terminology referring to LSEN.
And speaking of terminology, is there anything else or other terms that we could use that are not demeaning to people who are in this LSEN space?
Well, first of all, you know, when you talk about demeaning, you've got to have an attitude of trying not to let it be demeaning. But I've never liked a label, okay? So I prefer to use the term differently abled.
Yeah.
When you look at, say, occupational therapist guides or surgeons guides or doctors guides, they're probably going to have a whole lot of terms to refer to kids with CP, on the autism spectrum, perhaps Asperger's, something similar to that. They're going to have a whole lot of terms.
Yes.
But I like to use the term differently abled because it's far-reaching and overarching.
Yeah. So with regards to your journey, one of the things I mentioned was the 2,000-kilometer kayak. Could you jump into why you decided to do such a journey?
Okay, so I'd always thought of myself as different in a way, and I was tired of being different. I always wanted to shy away from my difference as opposed to embrace it. So I thought that if I went to go and do something extraordinary, that I would feel extraordinary.
Okay.
And the honest truth is, when I got back, I didn't feel extraordinary. So the reason I did it, I think, is the wrong reason. And although I'm pleased that I completed something that was a world first and so on and so forth, I wish that I'd done it just to embrace my difference and to show people that are differently abled can do extraordinary things.
Brilliant.
I wish that I'd actually had the foresight not to see myself as somebody chasing perfection when I didn't need to.
Okay. That's so interesting. So you've done the trip, I mean, you've spoken to thousands of people about just your journey and who you are, and now we find you sitting at Resolute's couches, which naturally just leads me to say, why is Resolute your next step?
Well, I think it's a wonderful place. I've heard about it. I saw it on Instagram, and a friend actually alerted me to Resolute, and I love the idea of a vehicle to be able to give back to children and to give them the opportunity that I didn't necessarily have. I'm not saying that I didn't have opportunity at all, but I didn't have the opportunity to be able to be helped as much. So I believe that Resolute does an amazing job helping children that are in need.
Yeah.
You know, you've talked about your work with the foundation, and I just believe that coding and robotics is the way of the future. And if we can give kids that are differently abled the opportunity on one hand, and also teach children that aren't differently abled about kids that are, and to help them, include them, and for the whole process to be an inclusive one, I think that would be wonderful. So
That's brilliant.
I'm here and I'm excited.
So for the teachers watching, or for the kid who might come across our chat today, what is your message to them, especially for the kid who is in that LSEN school and is doubting some of their abilities?
Well, I don't like labels. So as I've said before, the idea of differently abled, everybody that's differently abled kind of does know deep down inside that they're different, okay? But none of them, and I can guarantee you, like the labels that are attributed to them. So when I talk about differently able, I mean overarching and inclusive. And every kid that's different is actually just striving to be included and loved. And I think a vehicle like this would be really, really useful and dynamic in helping kids that haven't been helped before.
That is brilliant.
Or to the extent that they should have been helped.
Great.
My intention, which will develop into a dream, I'm sure, is to campaign on behalf of Resolute to give children that are differently abled in LSEN schools the opportunities that I didn't necessarily have themselves. I have myself, and to basically bring Resolute across their path and give them an opportunity just as they give children that are not differently abled the opportunity. Because, as I said, all of us in this Rainbow Nation deserve a chance and help, and I believe Resolute is the vehicle to do that. Because I've been to a special needs school myself and to mainstream schooling, I've got a bit of street cred because I've been at both.
It's been so incredible learning so much about your story and your desires for South Africa, and we look forward to working with you. We'll see you around.
Palmer, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks so much. If you're at LSEN school and you're looking to implement coding and robotics, please reach out to us. We know what it takes to make a difference, and we're looking forward to partnering with you. Take care.